The most popular videos here on YouTube tend to be consumption-based. Videos that are trying to separate you from your money, usually with the host making a cut off of that. This video is going to be different, so it's probably not going to be that popular. In this video, I'm not trying to get money out of you. In this video, I'm offering you $27 to try out this one critical prepping skill, even just one time. Hey everybody, this is Praxis. First off, I want to address the elephant in the room. What is this $27 thing that I'm talking about? I know the way it usually is with videos that have a thumbnail like this one has and a hook at the beginning of the video. There's something like really, catching, and you're interested in what that is. And the host in the video keeps saying, oh yeah, we'll get to that in just a little bit. In 10 seconds, I'm going to talk about that. And they just kind of dance you along through the video. First, I want to talk about the history of agriculture in Mesopotamia before we get to the meat of the video. Okay, the $27 thing. I do have to give context, you understand like what this is all about, but I will guarantee if you try this prepping technique, you will have an extra $27 in your pocket that you would not have had anyway. So that's the guarantee I'm making right now. I'll explain later about the specifics, but first I want to talk about like what the actual topic of this video is. And this is a video topic that I've never really seen any prepping channels talk about before ever, except to say things like, you need to have a full pantry so that your family isn't going to starve. If you don't have a big pantry, and there's tough times, you could watch your family starve. That's the closest that anybody ever talks about this topic. And it's kind of in a negative context. And I'm going to be talking about starvation in kind of a positive context. This video is about fasting. Now, fasting is something that's kind of new to me. I've done it about a half a dozen times. I was really reluctant to ever even start getting into it. It was something I never planned to do. It's just a stupid thing that people do. Like, why would you deny your body nutrition in order to have health benefits for your body? It just seems ridiculous and stupid and uncomfortable. I was never interested in doing it. But, and you guys know me on my channel, I have opinions about things, but I'm always open to having my mind changed. Even when I have a strong opinion on something, I'm always listening to the other side, always listening to other points of view, other experiences. And I just heard one too many stories, both secondhand from people that I know, and I guess it would be kind of like third hand through like YouTube videos of a lot of positive benefits that people were getting from fasting. And at some point it just became undeniable. I should try this out. Like, there's got to be something to this. So I started giving it a try. I've done it about a half a dozen times at this point, and I really love it. There are a lot of benefits in terms of health that I'm already thinking that I'm starting to feel. I'm not going to talk about the health benefits in this because that's above my pay grade. And on this video, on this channel, I like to talk about things that I have actual personal knowledge of. And at this point, only about a half a dozen fastings in, I might be convincing myself of things. It could be all psychosomatic. I don't really know about that. But there are some really important prepping benefits of going through the process of fasting. And after like the second time I did it, I knew I wanted to make a video. I knew I wanted to share it with you guys. And I knew I wanted to suggest that you guys think about doing this. Now, before I go down this road, I guess you always have to talk about this on any kind of a health topic. Talk to your doctor before you do anything, blah, 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 blah. I think it's just ridiculous. This video is about not eating, and you got to have like warnings, like warning people about the dangers of not eating and talk to a physician or whatever. But if I just picked up like a McDonald's Happy Meal and I started eating a McDonald's hamburger and said, this is delicious, you should try this too, you don't need any health warnings for that. It's like, that's the state of our society. So anyway, that aside, I'm talking about my own personal experience. Everyone's got to make their own choices. There are pros and cons to everything, and there are risks associated with everything in life. But this is something that I've done a half a dozen times, and I feel like there's some real benefits to it. And I want to focus on the prepping benefits that have really been thrown in my face. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that the only time people tend to talk about this is in terms of like you want to avoid starvation. Have a big pantry to avoid starvation. And I think that really misses an opportunity that marries to the idea, another idea that I talk about here on my channel, is that it's important to practice skills. And no matter how much you prepare for anything, you could be in a situation in your life where, maybe you have a great pantry at home, but maybe you're not home and it's going to be a while for you to get back there. Where you just don't have food to eat and you may have to go through a period where you're not eating. If you practice this kind of stuff ahead of time, it is amazing. At least it's been amazing to me how capable the human body is of doing stuff even when you're not fueling it presently. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I mean by like a fast. Like, what is a fast? Because that could mean all sorts of different things. Like Gandhi would do fasts for days and days and days. I do a fast actually every single day. This is not the one I'm talking about in this video, but for the past, I don't know, several years, I've always done kind of a little mini fast where at dinner, at about like 5 o'clock, we have dinner that in the evening. I won't eat anything after dinner until breakfast, which the original origination of the word breakfast is break your fast. I won't eat anything all night until breakfast the next day. So I always have like 16 hours of not eating every day. It's like a little mini fast. That's not what I'm talking about in this video. What I'm talking about is something that I've done recently, which is a 40-hour fast. Almost. I've never actually made it to 40 hours. The most I've ever done is like 38 and a half hours. It's a little hard when you're making breakfast for everybody else in the house to be like, yeah, I'm going to wait another hour and a half before I eat. And I always have to make breakfast for everybody. So I've never quite made it to 40 hours. But we're talking about that kind of a thing where we'll have dinner on one night and not eat anything all night after that, go to bed. And then the next day, skip breakfast, skip lunch, skip dinner, and then have breakfast the following day. That's the kind of fast that I want to talk about in this video. The first time that I did it, I only planned on doing a 24-hour fast. I was going to have dinner and then the next morning skip breakfast, skip lunch, and I figured I'd be starving by dinner, so I'd eat dinner. But by the time I made it to dinner that night, I was a little bit hungry like after breakfast. And that kind of hunger feeling kind of persisted like until a little bit before lunch. But around like midday on that day, the hunger kind of went away. And it never got any worse. That was what I had always imagined is like, well, you skip one meal and you feel like this level of hunger. You skip 2 meals, it must be like, that much worse. And then you skip 3 meals and it's that much worse. At least in my experience, hunger never got beyond like what you normally would experience if you're like late for a meal. And like I said, in my experience, it always kind of tapers off. So you get a little bit of hunger feeling and then it sort of tapers off. And when I got to 24 hours on my first fast, I thought, well, I feel fine. Maybe I'll just wait and I'll go to sleep and I'll get a whole extra 16 hours of fasting in and then I'll have breakfast the next morning. I was pretty darn hungry the next morning and I was happy to be having breakfast that next morning. But as I've done subsequent fasts, when I get to that next morning, about 40 hours, I feel less and less out of sorts. I feel more and more like my body is kind of has adapted to this. I am feeling certain health benefits that, again, I'm not going to talk about in this video because I feel it's tangential to this channel's topic. And also, again, like I said, it's a little bit above my pay grade. But it's psychologically, it has been really empowering feeling, realizing that your body is a lot more of a battery than I ever thought that it was. I always felt it's like, you got to have a meal every certain number of hours or you're just going to like, you'd be like the Energizer Bunny, except that it does stop and like you just run out of power and you can't do anything anymore. I would just keep going and going and going. And I was astonished about what I was capable of. And that's something I talk about a lot on my channel is when you try something that is difficult or that people say is impossible, it's really empowering to realize that you can actually do it. Like the house that I'm standing in right now, this is the 4th house that I've ever built in my life. Building a house for yourself is something that you're not supposed to be able to do unless that's your profession. This is not my profession. I'm a photographer and an artsy-fartsy kind of like graphic designer and stuff like that. But I tried building a house and I realized, wow, that's something that I'm actually capable of. And that really creates an enormous sense of self-confidence, which bleeds out into other areas of your life. And the same thing with fasting. When I realized that I could be functional. And when I have been doing fast, I don't just like sit in my bed all day, like just moaning or whatever. The first day I decided to do my fast because I knew I was just going to be doing a lot of driving that day. It wasn't going to be particularly aggressive physically. I went to Home Depot, we were picking some things up. So I'm still active and doing things and I'm capable of doing that. And it makes me think if there was ever an emergency event and for some reason I couldn't eat, knowing that I can function on less than I'm accustomed to functioning on, at least for a short period. I mean, eventually you got to eat, unless you're, you subscribe to the breatharian, view of the world where it's like just the breathing gives us all the energy we need. Eventually you're going to eat, but for short periods, if you understand that it's not the end of the world if you skip a meal, if you miss 2 meals, if you miss 3 meals, it's not the end of the world, and you're going to be okay on the other side of that. During an emergency situation, it can take your mind completely off of the stress that you're feeling about, like, oh my goodness, I've already missed 2 meals. If you're accustomed to that, and on an ongoing basis, you routinely will just skip 3 meals, you're going to be able to focus on the task at hand instead of focusing on, like, I got to eat, I got to eat, I got to eat. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys is, I'm not going to tell you how to fast or how long to fast or anything like that, but I think it's definitely something to look into. I feel great. There are physical benefits that I've been noticing. I'm not an overweight guy. I'm not doing it to lose weight at all, but no, I'm not going to talk about it any more than that. There are benefits to it. And one of them, and here we get to the elephant in the room, is financial. The average person here in the United States spends $27 a day on food, and here you go. If you were to do a 1-day fast, you will save $27. Now, that might seem like a bit of a scam because you definitely are going to have that extra $27 in your pocket, but did Praxis get bled for that? Because I'm not physically giving you that $27, am I? But if it makes you feel better, these videos on average take me about 2 hours to put together. If you were going to pay me minimum wage, about $20 an hour, that'd be like $40 that I spend to put this video together for you. It's like $40 of my time to put this video together. And generally on YouTube, my videos earn about like maybe $5 if I'm lucky in terms of ad revenue. So I am sacrificing $35 worth, $40 minus the $5 that I get back in ad revenue. I'm sacrificing $35 of my time in order to give this message to you. So I kind of lose $35, you gain $27. Where's that extra money go? Well, YouTube has to take its cut. But that's what I wanted to just share with you guys. It's just the benefits psychologically in terms of your prepping mindset of being able to survive through something if you have to go with less. Now, again, it's not for everybody, and don't just take my word for it. Do your own research. Ask people that you trust the opinion of, and it's probably not for everyone. People with different types of health statuses, and I guess even gender. Like it can be problematic for women who are still on their menstrual cycle potentially to do this. Again, this is something I'm just learning about myself. So this is me introducing you to the idea. Do your own research, and don't be afraid to give it a try out. It's not as uncomfortable as you're imagining it is. And, at least from secondhand accounts that I know from a lot of people that I have talked about that have tried this themselves, they've gotten miraculous benefits from it. And even if those miraculous benefits don't actually exist, just the psychological benefit alone is something that I think makes it worth taking a look at. Before you go, I just want to remind you, if you wanted to get your own copy of my Praxis Prepper's Cheat Book for the holiday season, this is like the last opportunity that you would have to get it and have it potentially get to you ahead of the holidays. It'll probably get to you ahead of the holidays if you were to order it right now. That is a print-on-demand book, so it takes about at least 2, usually about 3 weeks between the time you order it to the time you get it. So if you wanted to get that book for anyone on your Christmas list, anybody if you want to push prepping onto, I don't know if that's necessarily the best use of the book. It's kind of a book for people who are already prepping. It's not like a intro to prepping. It's like all the kind of stuff that preppers tend to forget, it's all compact into that book. So it wouldn't be that I wouldn't recommend giving it to someone that's not already a prepper. But if you have anyone like that on your list and you did want to get a copy, the beginning of December, right around now, is probably like the last time that you could order it and pretty reasonably have it guaranteed get to your place before Christmas. So that's it. I hope you found this video helpful, and thanks for watching. Hey YouTube preppers, if you enjoyed this video, here's another that I think you might like. But before you click on it, I wanted to take a moment to thank all the people you see on the right-hand side of your screen. They help to support all the work that I do here over at patreon.com. If you'd like to join them and get your name added to the list, the link's below.